give you some brief up about what Swarasya is and what we are trying to do. So what we are trying to do is, apart from offering you a very natural range of skincare products, we are also trying to educate you on a lot of different aspects of beauty, which is far deeper than just outside beauty. Just so it's far beyond the concept of just taking care of yourself on the outside from the skin perspective. It is about getting deeper to your foods, to your emotional self, to your mental self, to the spiritual side of it, and how everything comes together when it comes to beauty. This may sound a little overwhelming for now, but the whole idea is when you start to understand deeply how everything comes together, it's more about working on yourself, and then gradually working on yourself to bringing about those small little changes, which will go a long way in terms of making sure that your that ageless aspect that we are looking for is so this is the way you achieve that ageless beauty, as we call it. So we offer a lot of products, services, information, education programs. We have started this series of educatory workshops and programs. This series is one of those. We have already done 3 workshops which are about, so Swarasya concept is divided into 5 aspects of beauty, as we call it. It's about the first beauty dimension is nourish, which is all about foods and how foods impact you. The second dimension, as we call it, is all about body work, how body what do you do to yourself from the exercising perspective, from self-care perspective, how do you take care of yourself. It's about that. And the third dimension is about emotions, which is what we are going to talk about today. Now, if you are interested in knowing more about the other 2 dimensions that I'm talking about, which is nourish and body work, where we've deeply covered how foods make a difference to how you look and feel, and how exercising and your self-care and your skincare makes a difference about how how you look and feel. You can just go to our YouTube channel and see the recordings there. We have those previous session recordings there. Before we actually get into the session, I would just want to announce that we have a giveaway for you all. The criteria for selecting the giveaway would be once we are done with the session, we would be really happy to know what has been your experience about the workshop, and is there anything that you would want us to cover from the beauty perspective in future workshops, because our entire team and the brand value is all based on beauty inside out, which is the concept of holistic beauty. So we'll be having 2 winners, and you will be getting a chance to win one of our body care products and a book written by me. Okay, so these are the 5 dimensions that I have already spoken about: nourish, body work, emotions. Self-realization is the next workshop that we will be doing soon, and energy. So nourish and body work concepts are the ones which are very physical, which we can physically experience and live through on a daily basis. Emotions, self-realization, and energy are the subtle aspects, something that we feel but we never relate to how it can actually make so drastic difference to our overall feeling, our overall appearance, and how we live life on a regular basis. It's like these dimensions are huge. So this is what I will try to explain it all to you today. Okay, so before we actually get into the science of emotions and how it makes you look and feel, I really want you to think of this concept from a very, very broad perspective. Keep your mind open, because these would be the concepts that would be really new to you, but this is where the entire connectivity of mind body awareness is happening to you. So just to kind of set a base to what we are going to talk about today, every organ has a certain specific kind of an energy which is related to one specific kind of emotion. Now just keep this thought in mind. What does this mean? I will be covering later in the session. And every disease or any kind of imbalance, so if you talk of any skin issues, if you talk of acne or wrinkles or aging skin or weight fluctuations, what is happening to you on the external basis is very much a manifestation of what is not right inside. Okay, so which means now if we look at ourselves from the inside perspective, we are a system made up of various systems coming together, working in coordination. When that coordination of systems is not right, some imbalances start to happen inside, which start to show up in different marks and different shape changes and on the whole body and on your face and your body. So just to summarize, balanced weight, great skin, and lustrous hair, which we all seek for from the beauty perspective, and for which we are just running around pillar to post looking for solutions, looking for those best treatments. highly depends upon these beauty systems. It all starts within. It depends on those beauty systems. These beauty systems, I will just brief you up about what do we mean by beauty systems. But if you are interested in getting to know details about about these systems in detail, you can just go back and check out our body work workshop, where we had covered all these concepts in quite a lot of detail. So emotions not just give you your mind. So when we look at emotions, our thought process is generally stuck at a level of we thinking that our mind is not in place, but we hardly realize that when those emotions are actually all over our mind, it is also subtly all over in the body. How is it happening is what this session is all about. Okay, so face shows what is going on the inside, not just in the body but in the mind as well, all of which changes the landmarks, the shape and size of the features and the markings on the skin. Okay, so now the basics, how this science goes, we will just try to get into the science of this beauty inside out concept, bases the concept of emotions. Okay, in a state of imbalance, what happens is the manifestations start to show up as pimples, acne, redness, dryness, and even more chronic skin conditions like we are experiencing today, something like psoriasis or eczema or any other, various different kinds of skin disorders, weight disorders, which were never there in the past. So today they are a lot more than what our ancestors used to experience in their times. Now what happens is the location of these eruptions. For example, if you have acne near your jaw area, if you are prone to this acne just around your jaw area, it is a very strong indicator that you have reproductive hormonal imbalance. Now again, there's a science to it. I will just try to relate all these concepts to what I'm saying in my future slides, but I'm just trying to create a base, because when we are discussing those, you will kind of, it'll be good for you to kind of understand what we are discussing right now. So the relation will be much better. This understanding is an outcome of interconnected internal channels through which the energy flows. So okay, when I say that these acne marks in your jaw area are indicative of something not right with your reproductive health, or maybe something going wrong with the ovaries, or if you have PCOD or PCOS, how that relation happens, because it is happening somewhere and it's showing somewhere on the skin. How it happens is through the concept of something called pranic channels, or in Ayurveda we call it pranic flow or pranic channels, nadis basically. And in traditional Chinese medicine, which is something like the Ayurveda of Japan and China, they understand it from the meridian perspective, which means that we have different channels inside the body, and these channels are connected in throughout the body in different parts, in different so for example, the lung channel is different, the digestive channel is different, the liver channel is different, and these channels are connected throughout the body. So which means if there is a connectivity between your reproductive organs and the same channel is flowing towards the lower part of the jaw, then the manifestations of anything not going good with your digestive system or with your reproductive organs will start to show on your face in your jaw area. And similarly, this is how, like, different marks on the skin have a very deep rooted story to tell about what is happening in different parts of the body. So when people go through traumatic experiences, now this was all about the physical part of it, how the connectivity happens. Where do emotions come into the picture when we talk of these concepts? What happens is emotions is something like unseen energy. It is when we are talking of these meridians or pranic channels or nadis, what we understand from these ancient concepts, the energy which is flowing inside the body is highly dependent upon what kind of emotions are you carrying. If you're very happy, generally see, like when we are very happy, even if you're not doing anything, you just glow out of the blue. People ask and tell you, like, is there anything else? But you just glow, and it is not by chance. It is because that emotion did make some changes at the deeper level in your hormones, in what is happening at the deeper level of the body, because of which the internal chemistry changes, and this internal chemistry then starts to kind of work on the entire body by correcting the functionality of the body, which then starts to show up on your face and radiance, what we call it as such. Can be a little technical to understand. I'll just get deeper into it to explain what are we talking about. Okay, so what happens is when we talk of wrinkles and sagging skin, what is happening from the emotions perspective? When we are so I don't know if you ever experienced some people having some kind of frown lines, eyebrow lines, or people having these crow's feet, or specific lines on the face, maybe starting from your nose and going till your mouth. What are they indicating? Is there anything that your body is showing? It's basically, of course, from the organ perspective, maybe there are some imbalances which are showing up on the face. But side by side, another thing what is happening is when you are experiencing any specific kind of an emotion. For example, somebody who experiences anger on a regular basis will start to show these frown lines in the middle of the eyebrows. So if those two very deep rooted lines between your eyebrows is a very strong sign that you are an anger prone person, and that anger is starting. So it's two way. Like if you're angry, the internal chemistry will go bad, and anger is very deeply related to liver, and if your liver is not working right, over time you will see these lines will automatically start to appear between your eyebrows, and that's the interconnectedness between your organs and your and how these signs show up on your face. And then there is a deep-rooted connectivity with the emotions also. That's a science. I'll take it on later. But the whole idea is any kind of markings on the face, horizontal lines, indentations, unusual coloring on the face, places where skin is pulled and stretched, and you had a specific kind of a face cut at a certain time, and now maybe you're aging, and then maybe you're in your 30s and 40s, and you realize that your face has started to change, your body has started to change. It wasn't this like in previous years. So it's an interplay of what is happening inside the body, and what kind of emotions have you carried over years, which are working together to create your physical self, the face cut, the indentations, the markings, everything on the face. Like for example, the eyebrows thing that I just told you about, those vertical lines between the eyebrows are very deeply related to the liver. I'll cover that in the later slides. So this is my own story before we get deeper into it. The concept that we are talking about today is something that's not bookish, that I have actually lived that this life and this lifestyle, and I have come over the other side, and that's where I can tell you and teach you how strong this connection is. So the picture that you see on the left side was about 8 or 9 years back, and the right one is recent one. So I initially, since years, I had been very focused about eating right and living right. So I had been very particular about it, and so diet and lifestyle was never a problem for me because I had maintained myself since beginning. I was very aware of it, but still there was something which was not changing within me. I used to be bloated and used to have these acne marks just coming over anywhere and everywhere. Eyes were puffy. You can see the upper eyelids and the lower part of the eyes, and some puffiness in the cheeks and lower jaw, face cut, not if it's more of a plump kind of face. And I never realized it could also that there could be something deep rooted related to it. Over time, it was not a conscious thing that I was doing to transform myself, but it so happened that because I was studying all these things and I was implementing all these things as a part of my lifestyle, over years I realized that my entire look changed automatically. I did nothing about it consciously, but yes, I got very particular about eating right, living right, being very aware of my emotions, in the sense that being conscious. Like if I know that I am about to get angry, I will make sure that I do something or distract myself so that I can just be away from that kind of an emotion that can harm me. So that was nothing specifically related to making sure that the beauty is impacted, but more because I got into yoga, and then yoga teaches you to be more on the subtle side and being more balanced. So these were the practices that I was doing, and over time I realized in 8 years my entire look changed completely. So emotions, ups and downs, expectations with others, disturbed relationships, any kind of inferiority complexes, if you are kind of self-sabotaging yourself, any kind of shame, fear, anger, all these negative emotions, what they do is, if I have to summarize this in one word, all these negative emotions start to impact your stress hormones. And stress hormones are very physical thing. It's not a subtle thing. Like emotions are subtle thing. You cannot see it, you cannot touch it, but you can feel it. But when these emotions interplay inside the body, they actually become physical in the form, and they start to show up in the form of stress hormones. These stress hormones are actually physical, liquid in form, and these stress hormones just completely change our entire chemistry. That's where a lot of blockages start to happen inside the body. A lot of a lot of internal damage starts to happen. Inflammation starts to happen. Body starts to become really acidic. that is where you start to lose your entire beauty. This will not start to happen in your 20s or even in your 30s, even late 30s. You will start to see the impact in your 40s, and a lot of women, if at all any one of you is in their 40s or have just entered 40s or in their late 30s, if you can really relate to, if you have started to see, your skin used to behave really well, say 5 years back, it's not behaving right now. What you have done over years has now started to manifest. And if this is the right time, like if you don't take the control now, the things will be out of control, because a lot of chemistry is changing very rapidly. So research has also shown that these emotions are very inflammatory, very highly acidic, and change the internal chemistry, leading to bloating, weight fluctuations, dull, dry, and aging skin. Okay, so again, before we actually get into the concepts of how emotions change your beauty, this is the crux of everything. This slide is the crux of everything. How does radiant beauty happen? What is your skin dependent upon? What are your hair dependent upon? What is your weight dependent upon? It is dependent upon pure, clean blood, kind of circulating inside the body. So radiant beauty, that bursting beauty, or that magnetic beauty, as we call it, will happen when your blood is pure. It is not thick, it is not thin, it doesn't carry a lot of toxins, and it contains those pure, dense molecules of nutrition and oxygen inside your body, because this is where the blood will pass on the nutrients and the oxygen to your cells. Now these cells is where your beauty happens, because the more cleaner, the more bursting with energy your cells are, the more radiant you are, the more energetic you are, the more vitality you have, the more magnetic you become. So all magic happens in the cells with an interplay of nutrition molecules and oxygen coming together and bursting out that energy, which shows as radiance on the outside. How emotions are connected to this thought is, when your emotions are not right, I'll talk about this in detail in later slides, but just to relate, to set a base of what we are talking here. When your emotions are not right, your blood becomes acidic. Again, how it becomes acidic is because of the change of chemistry due to the release of stress hormones inside the body. When your blood is becoming acidic is where the beginning of acne, wrinkles, pigmentation, anything, any skin concern, any beauty concern, your body shape changing, your face, anything changing, very deeply rooted to the kind of blood that you carry. Okay, so what is the physiology of beauty? We will come to emotions later. Let's just understand first what do we mean by beauty systems. So I guess till now we have understood these systems from the perspective of health systems, right? We have studied digestive system, respiratory system, hormonal system, nervous system, lymphatic system, circulatory system from the health perspective, like biologically. But you'll be very surprised to know these are the systems which are responsible for giving you that somebody you idolize from the parents' perspective. Probably their systems, all these systems are working in their proper order, and that's where that beauty is kind of bubbling or bursting out of them. How it happens, very quickly I'll take you through these concepts, but I will not spend much time on these systems, because we have already covered this in our last body work workshop. If you are interested, maybe we'll share the link of YouTube recordings in the chat box. You can just go to our YouTube channel and listen to these concepts in detail. But quickly, just because emotions are related to this concept, while I'll still try to clear up these concepts a little bit. So we have just discussed your blood is everything, right? Now, how does that blood form? The very first beginning of that blood beginning happens when what you are eating is so pure and raw, and all full of those dense nutrients, that your blood is getting those pure nutrients from that food with the help of digestive system. And that's why digestive system becomes one of your beauty systems. We know we have no other source of nutrition except having good foods, right? So, but these foods directly don't create good blood. These foods go through a process of digestion, and this digestion happens in different stages. It's a stepped process. So if there is any kind of concern in your digestive system, starting from your stomach to your colon. So when I'm talking of digestive system, I'm talking of the gut altogether. It starts from your mouth and ends in your colon. So any kind of concern that you have, either from the chewing perspective, maybe you're not chewing your foods well, you're just gulping your foods down, even if it is the best food, even if it is the best salad, but if you're just gulping it down, the load on your system increases. When the load increases, the digestive capacity goes down. So just look at your system very deeply from from a machinery perspective, any machinery, if you start to put a lot of load on that machinery, the capability of that machinery to process its its work starts to go down. Similarly for the digestive system, so if you have consumed foods, and if some issues start to happen at the stomach level, or they start to happen at the absorption level, or they start to happen at the elimination level, which when I say elimination, it is constipation. So if you are constipated, this is where your aging begins with. So this, in modern science, this may not be a very serious thought, and we might just take it very lightly, but in Ayurveda, 96% of any kind of health concerns, including your skin concerns, start when you are constipated. Okay? So what happens is, how digestive system converts whatever you consume into beauty is, it extracts those nutrients from the foods that you have consumed, and then it kind of processes it to in different phases. And ultimately, in your small intestine, where you see in the picture, where you see this that coiled red colored kind of an image, is where you have these small villi, small absorption routes of our body. That's where the nutrition gets absorbed, and when it gets absorbed, that's after its absorption, it gets mixed into the blood. So from your foods, what gets extracted and what gets mixed to your blood is what will decide what kind of skin, hair, and weight condition you will carry. So it directly relates to what kind of foods you are consuming and whether or not your system is working fine. For the foods workshop, if you're interested, you can again look out at our YouTube channel. We have very deeply covered the Nourish part, which is all about foods, how foods make a difference to your beauty. So now what happens is, when the blood is impure, then it is the beginning of dull, dry, lifeless skin, pigmented skin, pale complexion, loss of hair, and and it is indicative of digestive distress. So I'll just give an example. If any one of you is dealing with severe acne, or any kind of aging issues, or even weight fluctuations, the very first organ that you need to see, irrespective of you cut down on calories, or you start to apply any anti-acne creams, or you get your treatments done, these are very, very quick fixes, because it is all manifesting from the inside. It's like something like it's simmering from the inside. You are just putting something like a plaster on the outside, and that's the reason you do 100 treatments, nothing works. Why? Because internally what is causing it has never been solved. So digestive system is your first beauty system. The other beauty system is your lungs. Now, while lungs is your second beauty system, we just talked the concept of how blood is the ultimate ultimate thing when it comes to beauty. Now, blood needs nutrition and oxygen together to be supplied to the cells, where these cells thrive with that energy, which shows as radiance inside out. So nutrition part is taken care by the digestive system. The oxygen part is taken care by your lungs. So which means, if you are on a very good diet, if you're consuming bestest of foods to your capacity, and you are not exercising, you can be rest assured you will never get the kind of skin, and you are still aging. Why? Because those good foods will become poison inside the body until oxygen goes inside with it to be able to help those nutrition molecules get processed inside the cells. So if you are lacking on oxygen, the best foods may be just a feel good factor for you. Inside the body, it is not working for you, and that's the reason absence of proper oxygenation deprives each cell of oxygen, which is much required for your beauty to bloom at its peak capacity. Any one of you, if is into by any chance exercising, you can see how your skin glows immediately when you are done with your either a yoga class or a running session or whatever. So what is the science behind it? It is the science of oxygen. You have just oxygenated yourself. That is just bursting out outside of you in the form of beauty. So that's a very layman understanding of what we're trying to discuss. Deeply, what happens is, when there is lack of oxygen, it creates a lot of inflammation inside the body, because our body becomes acidic in the lack of oxygen. Why? Because carbon dioxide rate goes up, and carbon dioxide is very, very, very acidifying for the body. So when it comes to acid, we are just looking for looking for those specific foods which are acidic for us. So foods is just one category which is acidic for us, which is hardly 25 or 30%. 70% acidity inside the body happens when you are holding a lot of carbon dioxide inside the body. Just try to relate this fact to a scenario where you have a sedentary lifestyle. You're just sitting in front of your system the whole day, and you don't get up, and you feel very dizzy, and your head feels very heavy, and immediately you feel very sunken. What is happening? Even if you have had the bestest of food, what has happened is your system has gone low on oxygen and carbon dioxide has gone up. When carbon dioxide is up, everything goes haywire, whether it be your skin or your feelings or your energy or your emotions or your any health concerns, they start to rise. So it's a very connected science. When you think of foods, you cannot think of foods alone like foods. You have to think of foods and oxygen together. And when you are now, the latest researches which are happening are also proving that skin concerns, the severe ones like psoriasis, eczema, urticaria, and all these severe kind of skin conditions, are major reason is that we are sedentary, we are not breathing well, we are not using our lung capacity well. So that's what makes lungs as your second beauty system. The third one is the nervous system. This is the most important ones from the emotions perspective, so which is our topic for today. What happens is we just understood that how emotions, how organs start to manifest on skin in the form of different indentations and markings on the skin. But what is it that communicates to the organs to behave that certain way? We know that our organs are not working on themselves. There is some energy or there is some signaling being passed on to the organs to behave a certain way. For example, when you are hungry, your digestive system is not telling you that it is hungry. That signal has come from the brain telling your digestive system through the connectivity of hormones, which hormones and neurotransmitters. And what is the communication channel? It is the nervous system. So those lights that you see in the image on the right is basically the transmission of neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters are also a category of hormones, which means if your internal communication is not right, you're consuming bestest of foods, you are doing exercise also, but your state of mind is not good. You are a worrier, you are an anxious person, and you are an overthinker. Still, you will not be able to achieve the kind of beauty or the kind of appearance that you're wanting. Why? Because the stronger hold lies with the nervous system and the hormones, simply because it's very important to understand how these hormones work. I will talk about it later, but as of now, just understand that nervous system is a very strong system when it comes to your appearance. And we can feel that somebody who's very sad for a long time, you can see how their skin just starts to look very dull, and that radiance is not there. There is something which doesn't look very good about them on their skin. So nervous system is the third one. The fourth one is your lymphatic system. Lymphatic system, why? Because let's assume that everything is right. Your digestive system is also right. You're oxygenating also right. Your nervous system, maybe your emotion wise also, you're all well. Still you are facing some concerns, which is like acne, breakups, and a lot of water retention kind of conditions, where you feel as if the body is all full of water. Where is it coming from? It is coming from all full toxic lymphatic system. Now, what is lymphatic system? It is something like the sewer system of our body. Okay, so we have this circulatory system, which is all about blood, and we have this lymphatic system, which is where all these white blood cells, and it's basically our immunity. You can also in second as a second term, you can also call it your immune. That's where your immunity is strengthened and built. So if your lymphatic system is clogged, now how will it get clogged? When you are not moving your body in a vibratory pattern, something like just to give an example, something like jumping on a trampoline or something like a skipping is where your body is loose, but it is something like it's vibrating from top till bottom, right? So that vibratory action is what moves the lymphatic system. The irony is that inside our body for circulation, we have been blessed with a heart. So we need not worry about our circulation. Even if we are not moving, the circulation will happen. Of course, it will not happen the way we want, but it will still keep happening. But lymphatic system does not have a circulatory pump inside the body. So the only circulatory pump for the lymphatic system is the way we move. And that's why movement is very, very important. It is not just about doing 2 hours of exercise in a day and just sitting in the bed for the whole day or sitting on your chair for the whole day. You have to and that's why they say, every half an hour or 1 hour, just wake up and just move your body. And it is not, when I say move your body, it is not about those aggressive kind of exercises. It is about, just making sure that all your joints, you are kind of creating flexibility in the joints by moving them in all directions. That's where whatever clogging is happening starts to break down. Clogged lymphatic system leads to toxin accumulation. This is one system where you will start to get a lot of acne from. So by any chance, if you are experiencing a lot of acne, this is one system that you need to kind of take care of. few approaches I just mentioned about. Jumping is a very good idea to kind of to get your lymphatic system get working. Skipping is another idea. So all these practices definitely all together go a long way. But if you want to get to know in detail, you can just look out for our bodywork workshop on it. Okay, so we've just talked of this. Now, hormones and beauty. So nervous system and hormones are connected, and this is where actually your beauty happens at the very, very deep level. So this is the crux of everything. Like, it starts from the digestive system, it goes on to your lungs or respiratory system, then it moves on to your nervous system, then it moves on to your lymphatic system, and ultimately at the very deep rooted level, it is the hormones. Now, why hormones? I'll explain the science of that, but let's just see some of the statistics, how hormones impact our beauty. And I guess we all can relate to this. Estrogen, which is the female hormone, is responsible for collagen. It decreases the pore size, it maintains moisture levels on the skin, and keeps us youthful. So somebody who's experiencing a lot of hormonal issues, somebody with PCOS or PCOD, may have experienced that their skin doesn't ever come in control, even if you use the best of skincare products or treatments or whatever you do whatever, you change your diet, you take a diet plan, you start exercising, things don't improve very much for the people who have actually experienced how PCOD can just ruin your entire appearance. What is it that is working at the back of it? It is basically imbalance of estrogen happening inside the body. Now, the problem is estrogen is a hormone, and we do not have a direct control on this hormone, which means the only way that we can control this hormone is by improving our diet, by improving our lifestyle, by making sure, by creating a lifestyle which supports balance of estrogen. Okay, so after 40, what are we supposed to do for this? I'll come to that later, but we are just trying to understand how hormones are creating all that havoc inside the body. Somebody who is in their late 30s and just entered 40s, or about to enter 40s, can very well see how drastically everything starts to change inside their body. Like they may be having a very good skin, or hair health may have been very well about say 4 or 5 years back, and immediately as you are about to touch 40, somewhere within 2 to 3 plus minus years range of 40, you start to see that some things go wrong. You do anything, things just don't get in control from the skin perspective or hair perspective. Even for the weight perspective, if you were able to lose weight in your 30s or mid 30s, in 40s it becomes even more tougher for you to lose weight. Why does that happen? Because there is something called perimenopause, which is a stage which sets in which is a part of natural cycle. It is a part of each and every female reproductive cycle. The problem is this cycle has fast forwarded in past years because of the way we have started living and the way the kind of toxin exposure that we have gotten. This toxin exposure is coming from everywhere through our skincare products, the kind of household products that we are using, the kind of foods we are consuming, the kind of lifestyle that we are living, the kind of endless products that we are giving an entry to with endless chemicals entering into our body through different sources. And also because of our emotions, because emotions ultimately create certain hormones, and these hormones act as toxins inside the body if not controlled. So 40s is the time where you really need to be very, very vigilant if you really want to maintain yourself for the coming years. This is where you actually need to, if you have not taken care of yourself in your 20s and 30s, this is the time, because if you lose this time, then things go out of control. Why? Simply because estrogen, those attributes of beauty that we're talking about, collagen, pores and moisture levels on the skin, youthfulness, plumpiness on the skin, is all dependent upon what levels of estrogen are you holding inside the body. Now, I want to be very, very clear of this concept that when we are talking of estrogen, does not mean that if we are getting low on estrogen, we start taking supplements. I do not ever do that. If you are on any kind of hormonal supplements or birth control pills, this is the worst thing to be on. Why? Because estrogen does not work all alone. It works with a combination of different hormones coming together. So when you get onto these birth control pills or any kind of hormonal treatment for your body, these hormones are just working on one specific kind of a hormone. So this might balance one hormone, but what happens is because this hormone is working with different spectrum of hormones, the others get imbalanced. So precisely, you're not gaining anything, you are balancing one and imbalancing others. So that medley of things going wrong doesn't get better. Your one problem will solve and the other one might start, which is related to the other hormone which gets disturbed. So, this is not a solution at all. What is the solution? The solution lies in supporting your diet and lifestyle in a way which supports the hormones. What it takes to support your hormones, I'll talk at the end of the workshop. So, okay, so coming back to the hormones, the stress hormone cortisol. So we are talking of estrogen, which is a female reproductive hormone. The other kind of hormone that creates havoc on our skin is the stress hormone. It makes us feel drained, dull, and blood deprived. And we've seen that somebody who's been very sad or overthinker or anxiety prone over years, you can see that their skin is not, so as a personality, they're not very radiant, they're not very attractive or magnetic. Something in them does not attract you. What is it? It's basically, internally, that energy which has to come out as radiance is all being consumed internally by different organs to make you survive. So body works on the survival mechanism. How you kind of expend your energy is where you start to understand how to bring all these concepts together from the healing perspective. I'll talk of those later in the session. So, okay, what deteriorates beauty systems of the body? At the physical level, we all know that, we've always, there are a lot of sciences and we keep studying about how foods create acne, or they spoil our hair health or our weight or whatever, we know that. But what deeply also works equally is your emotions. Now, these are the folds of emotions. I guess a lot of us can relate to this. So the first picture that you see those frown lines in the center. This is a direct indicator that anger is something that this person is too much prone to, and their liver is not working fine, because when liver is contracted, or when liver is not able to process toxins right, this is where the signs of liver start to happen between your eyebrows. Those crow's feet is an indication of dehydrated body, and of course it is also related to your different organs inside the body. I'll talk of them later. Then those puffy eyes in the lower left side of the screen. That puffiness under the eyes is a direct indicator that your kidneys are not processing water right, which is a condition of edema also, which we call water retention. When your body is holding a lot of water in, specifically at the level of your kidneys are not able to process out all that, all those watery wastes out of the body. The kidney meridian that we're talking about is directly related to the eyes. So any kind of issues with your eyes, whether it be dark circles, whether it be crow's feet, whether it be that puffiness, is directly related to kidneys not processing the liquids right. And then on the right side, you see those aging signs and marks, and those tight lips, those wrinkled lips, direct indication that your digestion, your absorption is not right, because your digestive system directly shows on your lips. So if your lips are tight and you have these cracks on the sides, it also indicates that you are deficient on B12. So now this is, we've tried to understand, what are the beauty systems and how it shows on the face. Now we'll get a little deeper. How are organs connected to the emotions? Till now, what we have understood is that organs are connected to what shows on your face, right? Now we are getting a step below. We are trying to understand how these organs are now connected to emotions when these emotions are not right, how they play around with the organs, and when the organs are not right, all these signs start to show up all over your body and face. So the very first, so there are majorly 5 systems defined from the organ and emotions perspective. The very first system that we will start with is heart and small intestine. So heart and small intestine is something like pairing organs, so they go hand in hand. Now this is very important for you to understand. I guess you will be able to relate to a lot of concerns, not just from the beauty perspective, but from the health perspective also, if at all you are experiencing it. Somebody who is not a very happy and joyous kind of a person, and who is a very who lacks that sense of purpose, or who's not a very who doesn't have zest for life, all that energy or emotions are directly related to your heart, which means you're consuming the bestest of foods, you're doing exercise also, but by nature you are a very not so happy kind of a person. You will not be, you do whatever your small intestine will not be able to absorb all those nutrients to make sure that your blood has those dense nutrients to be passed on to your cells, because these are complementary organs. Only when your small intestine is happy, your heart is also happy, and when your heart is happy, small intestine is happy. And when these two are together happy, and you do not have any kind of emotions which are related to hate and impatience, is where you have holistically completed your spectrum of beauty from the heart and small intestine perspective. Now, what are the balancing emotions for heart and small intestine? Happiness and joy. So I guess we all can relate to this concept. A lot of people say that when you are you are in a state of stress or distress, don't eat. Do not consume meals when you're stressed. The science behind it is, or this is kind of an intuitive science coming from the ancient sciences, like what Ayurveda has talked about always, or what traditional Chinese medicine has talked about always. But what they say is happiness and joy. So when you are eating, even if you're not a very happy kind of a person for whatever reason, it could be some personal reasons or whatever, make sure that you are in a balanced state when you are eating, because that's where you are making sure that your small intestine has the capacity to absorb. And when we say absorption, this absorption is not just related to absorption of foods, but the absorption of emotions as well. Okay, so let me just give you another example. What differentiates a person who's very happy-go-lucky from a person who doesn't have much of emotional strength? Somebody who, two people from the same family gone through some tragedy. One is able to kind of look at it from a very positive perspective, and the other one just gets into depression. What is the difference? The difference precisely is the emotions. This person, because of his happiness and joy, could release certain hormones inside the body which kept him balanced even in a tragic situation. For the other person who had been sad, or who by nature had been a very impatient kind of a person, could not take that tragedy. Why? Because of that nature or those emotions, the hormones that got created inside the body ultimately led to not having that much of a strength to be able to deal with that tragedy. This is from the health perspective, and this will show on your entire personality. Why? Because negative hormones create acidic blood condition. These create inflammation. These create blockages inside the body, and these blockages ultimately don't let the nutrients and oxygen get mixed into the blood. That's where all that radiance happens. So from the heart and small intestine perspective, absorption is the key here, and happiness is the key here. And what is it that will make you live wisely from these organs perspective? What are the emotions that will help you kind of bring about changes in these organs? Is pampering yourself. So if you are a very busy kind of a person, I would still say spend some 10 minutes, 15 minutes any time of the day, just to make sure that you make yourself happy. Do whatever, it could be listening to music, it could be just taking care of yourself, or it could be some morning routine, or doing some 15-20 minutes of yoga, whatever makes you happy. Every single day, make it a point to make yourself happy. That's where slowly you are giving that dose of happiness to your heart, and you're making sure that your small intestine is absorbing everything. Then your feeling of self-worth, when you start to work on yourself and then you start to take care of yourself, automatically your feeling of self-worth increases. This directly impacts your heart. Another example I would want to give here, a lot of heart attacks happen to the people who have been very impatient and sadistic kind of personalities. Happy people hardly get heart attacks, and this has been proven in science. So it's a very integrated kind of a science. Now, what are the distortion signs that you will see on the face and the body when you have these these emotions of hate and impatience, which are directly impairing the functionality of your heart and small intestine? If you have a dull, colorless complexion, if you have darkened purplish complexion, if you have a swelled, bubbly nose, something like a you were not born with it, but something like a reddish kind of a bulby kind of a formation on the nose is a direct indicator that your heart is under stress. Then acne on chin and jaw area, because this directly impacts your hormonal health also, and lines around the mouth. Now, what is the science behind why these indentations happen? Let's get into the science. We just understood how blood is the crux of everything, right? Now, blood is directly related to your circulatory system. So and circulatory system is directly related to your heart. If your heart is not pumping right, the frequency of pumping of the heart is not right, the circulation is getting impacted. When circulation is getting impacted, the cells are not getting what they need, nutrition and oxygen, and ultimately everything is getting haywire. It's all showing up on your face in different markings on the face. So what is it that you are supposed to do from creating balance perspective to help your heart and small intestine? Consuming bitter foods is very good. It's cleansing from the physical perspective, but the energy of these bitter foods support the energy of the heart. So if you are a very sweet kind of an eater, make sure that you start including some bitter foods in your diet, something like a neem or red colored foods also, because red is directly related to the color of your blood, and that red color supports the blood quality. And what is it that you're not supposed to do if you have these emotions of hate and impatience, which are directly impacting your heart and small intestine, is reducing spicy foods, chocolate, sugar, salt, vinegar, garlic. These are very aggravative kind of foods. These will even more aggravate these kind of emotions that you're going through. Okay, the second system which get impacted by other kinds of emotions are worry, nervousness, and anxiety. So these are three emotions which are directly related to your spleen, stomach, and pancreatic function. Research has now also proven that the people who are chronic worrier, have nervous tendencies, and have anxiety are the ones who are also highly prone to having diabetes. Why? Because diabetes is directly related to the imbalance of pancreatic function. So worry, nerve, and this is something. So this is from the disease perspective. But if you all of us go through these emotions like worry, nervousness, anxiety are the most common emotions that we go through. And if you see, 95% of the people in today's times have distressed digestive health. If you relate to it from the emotion perspective, 95% of the world is all about worry, nervousness, anxiety, too much of a stimulation, wanting to do 100 things, not able to do even one thing, or just sticking to their in a small shell, not so it's also about the way we have started living life, the way we have started perceiving life, and having too much of expectations, which is giving us all kinds of worry, nervousness, anxiety. Now, if you are this kind of a person, you may be consuming best foods again, you may be doing best kind of exercise, you may be using best kind of skincare products. Your skin health and your aging will not stop. It will still happen at a rapid rate. Why? Because these are very superficial ways of taking care of yourself. Of course, these are very, very important because we are exposed to toxins. We need to take care of ourselves. But this will not stop the rapid aging which is happening from the inside, because digestive system is where the nutrients will get mixed into the blood. If the system is shut down, over time your skin will not have what it needs to be radiant and ageless for ages. So what are the balancing emotions for these systems? Trust and openness. So some people these are very common factors we can see in our daily lives with the people happening. Somebody who's not very open or doesn't trust people much. Somebody who's again does not want to open up. It's something like heart energy, which is like opening energy. You go and meet and greet everybody. You're very happy with everybody. Somebody who's very closed-minded and not mingling up well, ultimately are into their own selves, start to create a lot of manifestations of whatever they feel and think, and get into that shell of their own thinking and their own world. That is where you will create a lot of worry, you will create a lot of nervousness and anxiety also. So if you are a very open kind of a person, and I think we all can relate to this concept also, like people who are happy-go-lucky are generally the people who are meeting and greeting everybody, who are everywhere, who are talking to everybody and happy in any company. And for the people who are very close, not meeting a lot of people, just stuck to their own specific shell, are the ones will have hundreds of worries and will be nervous, have a lot of anxiety. So it's all a related science. Now what happens is this will do is, because again, worry, nervousness, and anxiety, these emotions will start to create a lot of negative hormones inside the body. These negative hormones, of course, will help you deal with the situation their own way, but ultimately the side effect of these hormones is that they make you feel tired, lethargic, and that lethargy keeps piling up. It's not something like you sleep overnight and next day it'll be over. And that's the reason, if a lot of people, even if they are doing everything, they just don't feel fresh. Why? Because it's all piling up. You are not just aware that you are prone to anxiety, worry, and nervousness. So that level of awareness is not there. And ultimately what will happen is this system will also block your digestive tract. And this is a science how it happens. It will be covered in the later slides, but as of now, just try to understand the system. And the distortion signs on the face and body as a result of this are going to be, you will be having bad breakouts on the face. This is a direct indication that your stomach is not processing foods right. You will have shrunken and wrinkled lips, because when digestion shrunkens, that the digestive meridian is connected to your lips. You will start to have weight problems. Why? Because the processing at the digestive level is not happening. If you are holding a lot of toxins, ultimately it will start to convert into fat because the processing is not happening right. When you're holding a lot of toxins inside, automatically pigmentation and all those skin marks will start to happen, and excessive hair growth on the face may also start to happen. Why? Because your hormones will go up and down. One of the hormones, testosterone, which is a male hormone, which is also a part of female body, rises in the state of in such a state of distress, and when systems are not functioning fine, and ultimately all these things coming together ultimately start to show up as how you look and feel. what are the foods and which can support these systems and also help you deal with these emotions. Sweet flavored vegetables, something like a pumpkin or a sweet potato or carrots, all these root vegetables, they settle down your system, they settle down your digestive tract. When your digestion is happy, your mind is also happy. I guess again we all have experienced this. When your stomach is full, we all feel very satisfied and happy. When the stomach is not full, we feel that growling feeling, that anger starts to happen, that irritability automatically starts to happen. Again, it is a very correlated kind of a science. From from the reduction perspective, you're supposed to go low on dairy, meats, cold raw foods, ice drinks, and refined sugars, because these will aggravate the emotions that we have just discussed. The third system, which is again the beauty system. Now, this system is directly related to your lungs and large intestine. Now, this is a very beautiful concept. If you again want to get into the detail of this concept, I would recommend please check out our YouTube channel for the bodywork session. It's covered in detail there. But these two organs are very closely related. So if you are constipated and you're wanting to get rid of your constipation, you're doing everything from the diet perspective, exercise also you're doing, still you don't feel fully evacuated. What could be one of the reasons? It could be because maybe your lung capacity is not right. So what I'm trying to say here is, if your lungs are working well, the energy of lungs directly impacts the energy of your large intestine. So if your breathing is good, your elimination will be very good. If you're consuming the best food, fiber foods, or doing food remedies, whatever you're doing for your constipation, and you're exercising to your capacity, but your lung capacity is not good, you do whatever, your colon evacuation will not be good. Why? Because there's something called apana energy, which is a yogic concept. It's basically a pranic energy, and that pranic energy gets into our body through our breathing. If our breath is not good, that apana energy is weak and low, and this apana energy or the apana pressure is what creates pressure for us to eliminate. So if that pressure is not built up, those foods are not going to help, because these foods need that energy to get pushed out of the body. And if your lungs and large intestine, whether it is constipation or any large intestine condition, or your lungs not breathing well, you probably may be prone to sadness and depression. Asthmatics, a lot of people who have asthma are generally very low on energy, and they have these saddening tendencies. I would not say depression, some may be, but some may not, but then those feelings of low will be very much a part of them. Why? Because the breathing capacity is not good. What are the balancing emotions for these people? Now what happens is, this is from the perspective of emotions, but it impacts everything about you as a person. If you're a sad person, you would not want to take any chances, you would not have courage to do anything, you will not be a risk taker, and you will not let it go. Like the emotion or the act of letting go in yogic sciences is about take a deep breath and just release it, right? So that's an act of letting go. But somebody who doesn't have that capacity of breathing only will not be able to let go. When we say let go, which means not letting go carbon dioxide from the physical perspective, holding carbon dioxide means a lot of acid, which means your system getting impacted in a sense that your blood is getting acidic. Now, blood is acidic, which means your skin will have all kinds of conditions that we're talking about. So not letting go from physical perspective is carbon dioxide. From emotion perspective is anything that you're holding. You may be holding some grudge, you may be holding some anger, whatever you're holding, you're not letting it go. So where does the beginning happen from the transformation perspective? The balancing emotions would be gradually, being self-aware and being self-realized, taking some small little steps to transform yourself, standing for the right, letting go, not clinging to the things and just starting to let go, is where you start to help your lungs and these emotions which are related to lungs and large intestine. Now, the feelings of loss, sadness, depression, and drain of lung energy is something which is also impacting your large intestine, which is causing which could also be one of the probable reasons of large intestine or the bowel functioning not being good. Now, when the bowel functioning is not good, you are again holding a lot of toxicity. You are not able to eliminate the feces. Now, when the blood circulation is happening, all the toxicity which doesn't go out gets circulated in the blood again. So the blood moves and picks all that toxicity again. It means the blood which should be carrying all that pure nutrition is carrying all that toxicity. This is the same toxicity which is converting into acne, which is converting into pigmentation, which is converting into all kind of colorless or these aging factors that you see on your skin and the body. And now the science is also proving we are prone to a lot of allergies in today's times, like sinus congestion, food allergies have a very direct relationship link with the way we breathe. So if you look back to our ancestors, they were more of a on the move kind of people. They used to work in the fields, even if not fields, they were all these transportation mechanisms were not there, so they were moving a lot, they were walking a lot, which means their lung was already on working through the day. They were doing a lot of household work. So by not by choice but by chance, their internal functioning was right. Today we are not doing anything, we have everything all set, we are just sitting and enjoying life. To a certain life, certain extent, of course, things seem well. And as we start to get into our late 30s and 40s, you start to see rapid decline of everything happening, health issues starting to come up, skin getting bad, hair loss happening rapidly, weight not getting right. It's all a manifestation of the organs which we are not using right, and the emotions that we are holding inside, which we are not, kind of letting go. Now, the impact of this on your face and body is going to be bloated face, something like you see in the picture. If you have those hollow cheeks, something like a lifeless kind of a face, which doesn't have that plumpiness, is a direct indication of sadness, which is directly related to your lungs. The moment you start to breathe better, you will see some changes happening to your cheek health also. And from the food perspective, what foods are going to support lungs in the cleansing activity are going to be the pungent foods. And that's the reason we say, like, if you have any kind of respiratory disorder, ginger is something that is highly recommended because it has that pungent kind of energy. Onions, radishes, mustard green, radish, all these foods have that pungent kind of an effect on the lungs, which opens up the lungs. So, but that opening is not enough. You also need to spend time exercising to open up your lungs to have that full capacity breathing, and that's where you see a lot of things will automatically start to change. It takes time, it is not a quick fix, but then you have to stick to it. Give yourself 2 to 3 months and see how beautifully a lot of things will start to change. And then the foods which are going to make negative impact on your lung health and kind of increase all these emotions of sadness, depression, are eggs, dairy, rich processed and fatty foods that also cause congestion inside the body. And this congestion begins at the lung level and then gets deeper to your digestive area and everywhere inside the body. Now, kidney and bladder, this is one organ pair which is directly related to hair loss. Your kidneys are responsible for your hair. It's if I have to just summarize in one line. And the emotions which are related to kidneys are fear and pride. So again, a very relatable example. A child, if you scold a child constantly, this child has this tendency of passing out in pants. Now, this is a very good example, directly indicating that if you create fear in somebody, you lose your capability to kind of hold, your kidneys and bladder function gets weakened. Okay, and what is the kind of emotions that will help you counter that emotion of fear and fright to support your kidneys? It's going to be being gentle and calmness and silence. So of course, it is easier said than done that we take control of these emotions, but the whole idea is it all starts with awareness. Now that you know all these things, you know that it's not good for me, and it's not just impacting me at the mind level. My entire body is getting involved in all the emotions that I'm going through. What do I do now? I consciously make an effort to calm myself. Maybe I get into some yogic practices. Maybe I do something that I like doing, so that I start to get away from all these feelings that I'm going through. I start to become more gentle and polite in terms of talking to others. Even if I have been a harsh kind of a person or a rude kind of a person, let me start changing myself. So, all these small little things, but it's all starts with self-realization. So this is the topic that is the next topic for our free workshop, which is all about, how do you self-realize yourself? How do you realize that these are what is not good for me, and then what am I supposed to do? But as of now, the whole idea is if you are conscious, if you're aware, if you're mindful, you will automatically be able to take control of all these emotions that we're talking about, not by fighting with them, but by taking control of them from the perspective of replacing them. So if you have fear and fight, then you don't work on fear and flight. It will not go. It is an emotion which you have inherited over years. You work on being gentle and calmness, automatically fear and flight will start to go. So you start to kind of increase the quantity of one emotion, and the other one automatically starts to fade away. So that's how you start taking control of your emotions. And so this relates to your adrenals. Now, adrenals is kidney. Adrenals is where your stress hormones are related to and released. And this is the system that is deep rooted from the emotions perspective, stress emotions perspective. And this is the reason of a lot of premature aging that we are seeing in today's times. People who in their late 20s or 30s and even 40s start to, look as if they are 10 years older or 20 years older. Probably adrenals are working very frequently or very, rapidly in their case, releasing a lot of stress hormones, ultimately changing the entire chemistry. And this chemistry is all showing up in the blood chemistry as acidic, and then cells are not getting nutrition and oxygen, ultimately forming you as a whole on your face and your body. Now, what are the distortion signs on the face and the body when you have these fear and fright kind of emotions? You will have puffy eyes, because puffy eyes, anything related to your eyes, is a direct indicator of your liver health and your kidney health. So puffy eyes, poor circulation, dark circles, insomnia, hormonal imbalance, dark circles, all these are related to your functioning of your kidneys. What are, from the food perspective, how you can help your support your kidneys? By consuming salty foods. When I say salty foods, does not mean that we go high on salt. What it means is getting salt from the right sources and not overdoing it. So something like salty and black colored vegetables. Salty, I'm not talking of the table salt here. I'm talking of something like, natural salt, something like a sea salt or a Himalayan salt, or so there are different kinds of salts available. Maybe Celtic salt is another salt. So you really need to kind of be, have your own research into what kind of foods are definitely. So I'm just giving you an opening into this aspect of how you look and feel, and then this opens a platform for you to go and do your own research. But some of the foods definitely are going to help you, or any kind of black colored foods, something like black and brownish colored kind of foods, something like black beans, black sesame seeds, blackberries, black chana, and all these things will support your kidney health. And going low on refined salts. Refined salts are coming from heavy meats and cheese and all these processed items, high sugary and salty items, excessively cooling foods. All these do not support your kidneys. And when your kidneys are not supported, by nature automatically you start to become fearful and frightful. So it is a two-way process. It's not just that fear or fright will impact your kidney, but it is the other way around also. If through your foods your kidneys and bladder is not supported, ultimately over years you will see some kinds of fears will start to impact you. And I think I can very directly vouch for it. I have gone through this entire transformation of fear, anxiety, worry that I'm talking about, and over time how everything just transformed, which completely transformed my entire appearance only. So these are the 5 systems which kind of are working together. And the last one is liver and gallbladder. Now this is one of the most important ones. Why? Because we are holding a lot of toxicity inside the body, which is coming from different sources, which is coming from everywhere. Precisely, it is coming from foods, lifestyle, the kind of products, skincare products, even emotions. As we are talking about, we are understanding how emotions are creating toxins inside the body. So liver has a lot of work to do. It has loads of work to do every single day. We don't realize it, but it's something like we are mindlessly maybe just enjoying, let me do this today, let me just sit back and not do this. All this is subtly manifesting at the organ level, deciding your fate of how you look and feel in the coming years. The emotions that are directly related to your liver and gallbladder are anger and frustration. So the world is angry today. We know that. Almost everybody today has some bouts of anger and frustration on a regular basis. And you see a lot of, and now that you know that, you can actually start reading people. You can just see the middle of their eyebrows. You can just make out that this person is somewhere prone to anger. Either that anger can be shown on the outside, or this person internally is angry. So it could be any which ways. But if that emotion is kind of straining some specific muscles in the body, that is where you start to get those wrinkles and those folds inside on the face. So emotions of rage and anger damage the liver. Now this is also the organ. Somebody who is suffering from PCOS and PCOD and estrogen imbalance, which we just talked about in the previous slide, it is a lot to do with your liver. So when you're looking for a PCOD and PCOS kind of a treatment, I guess it is better to go and detox your liver rather than going for a PCOD or PCOS kind of a treatment, because this is the root. This is where it is all manifesting from. So if you can take control of your liver, if you can clean your liver, automatically PCOS automatically starts to come back into control. So liver issues can show up as deep frown lines. You can just see that on the right side of the image. Liver issues happens two ways. Like we've just discussed, what are the two ways that that the appearance starts to get hampered. One is through foods. The other side, the subtle side, is the emotions. Through foods, it is coming from too much of sugary foods, too much of toxin-related foods, too much of processed and refined foods, colas, and all these packaged items, frozen foods, whatever you're choosing on daily basis. You don't even know what you're creating for yourself in the coming years. And alcohol is one of the biggest foods which will make you prone to anger, and ultimately that anger will start to show up on your face in the form of these frown lines. So that's how the entire science is coming together. And dull and cloudy eyes also related to congested liver. And that's the reason, if somebody has jaundice, the eyes go yellow. And jaundice, we know, is a condition related to your liver. So that's a direct connectivity. You can make out how liver starts to show up in the health of your eyes. What are the foods that will support liver? Sour food, something like a lemon, something like a cabbage, or mung bean sprouts, or bell pepper. Foods which are rich in vitamin C and are sour in nature. The best examples that I can give you is amla and lemon. These are the ones which support your liver health drastically. Which also means starting your day with 1 glass of lemon juice is not just about having a detox kind of a water. It is not just detoxing you at from the level of what it is doing. It is doing a much deeper job. It is supporting your liver, not just from the perspective of cleaning, but also from the perspective of these emotions, anger and frustration. The cleaner, the better, and in the best working condition your liver is in, the better you will be able to take control of your anger and frustration. Again, it is two-way process. Now, the foods which are hard on your liver are dairy, alcohol, fried foods, peanuts, and excess citrus fruit. So we are talking of lemon. Does not mean that you be on lemon the whole day. It's about being in balance. So about 1 to 2 lemons a day is a good way of supporting the liver. But then it doesn't mean that if you are very toxic already, or you have created these signs, that lemon water will remove those. It is about bringing about that change, 360-degree change in everything that you're doing. So lemon juice is just one of the remedies that you can do. But then other things, what you're supposed to do, I would highly recommend, please go through our other workshops that we have done on the other dimensions, and also try to join our upcoming workshops, because that's where we complete the entire 360-degree spectrum, from starting from the physical going up till emotional and spiritual, how everything comes together from your appearance perspective. Okay, so this is precisely what we have discussed till now. This is a precise chart of what we are telling. If your digestion is not good, the signs will start to show up on your forehead in the form of acne, or those lines forming on the forehead, and in the health of your lips becoming drier and tight, and you starting to get those cracks on the sides of your mouth. Thinning eyebrows, is a very direct sign of liver not being good, and then your thyroid not being very good, and it's also a sign of adrenals being fatigued, which means automatically you are under a lot of stress. Pimples on the jawline is a direct indicator of your hormonal imbalance, or specifically, this is where I think we need to really understand things, because we are talking of stress. Ultimately, when you talk of emotions, it is all related to stress. If you do not have stress, you do not have negative emotions, right? So you are a happy person. Now, what happens is, if you have stress, ultimately that stress converts into passes on those specific signals to the brain, and brain now understands that I have to release certain hormones because this person is stressed, this person is not happy. The body is very intelligent. It doesn't work as the way you want. It has its own intelligence. It is beyond what you understand. It is totally working its own way. So what we can do, and that's the reason we say that we should be living in alignment with the nature. The more you're living aligned with the nature, the more you're supporting everything, because at the sense level is the only control that we have. Beyond that, how our heart functions, how that heartbeat happens, how digestion happens, how liver processes toxicity is something that we do not have a direct control on. Even if we want, we just cannot do anything about it. But we can adopt a diet and lifestyle which supports these systems, so that these systems work fine. What is the system that will support all these organ systems is your stress mechanism, or the nervous system. And that's why initially I said nervous system is the key to everything. Nervous system and your hormones again is the key. Why? Because nervous system communicate via hormones. So hormones is the message for the organs to behave a certain way, to tell your that organ that, or to tell your digestive system, do not pass on those nutrients to the blood, and telling your lungs, do not pass on that oxygen to the skin, because as of now we need these nutrients and oxygen to build something else inside the body, because this person is distressed. So that communication is happening at a very strong level inside the body. Very quickly, I'll try to explain the system. When you are under stress or under any kind of emotion that we have just discussed, we have two autonomous modes of nervous system functioning inside our body. One is the sympathetic nervous system, the other one is parasympathetic nervous system. Parasympathetic nervous system is the calming system. So if you are maintaining a state of parasympathetic nervous system or a calm state, so don't get into technicality. Just try to understand the relative terms that I'm talking about. So parasympathetic nervous system is the calming system. You are calm, you are happy, you are all joyous, you are in a happy state, you are a happy-go-lucky kind of a person. That is what parasympathetic nervous system is. Automatically, your system will have enough energy, will have enough supply of nutrients on oxygen to pass it on to the skin cells to make sure that your appearance does not get hampered. It is as simple as that. If you are in a sympathetic system or a stimulated state or a stressed state or an aggravated state, it could be anger, it could be worry, it could be fear, it could be whatever, any kind of stimulating kind of a negative emotion, which automatically switches on our sympathetic nervous system. We do not have a control on it. I would again repeat that. What will happen is the entire body functioning will redirect itself towards making sure that it brings you back into that calm state. As a result, automatically, and that's the reason, like, you get upset for a certain time and after a certain time you get normal. Now we see as if, okay, we got upset and we got normal, but what changed inside, or what hard work our body had to do to make sure that we get back into that calm state or parasympathetic state, has automatically taken a control on your appearance. Why? Because the energy. So in a state of sympathetic nervous system or a stimulated system, the very first beauty system that will shut down is your digestive system. Your digestion will not work. It will go very, very slow. And that's the reason they say that when you're stressed, you should not be eating. Just make yourself calm and then sit back for eating. Why? Because when you're eating, it's all sitting inside. You have eaten, you think, okay, you're full, even if you're stressed, but the system is not processing it, which means if the more it is lying in your system, the more it is getting fermented, the more it is getting destroyed, the more it is creating bacteria. So, leave alone the processing of nutrients, that definitely is not happening. But on top of it, all that bacteria and all that toxic, morbid stuff is also creating inside the body. So ultimately, your system is becoming very acidic. Your circulation is getting impacted, because the focus of circulation now is to bring you back to balance, and the entire chemistry changes, the entire focus of your system changes to bring you back to balance. So as a result, your digestive system will shut down. Your breathing will go, it'll go little deep, but deep in a very stressed state. Like, we know when we are stressed how the breathing pattern happens. It's not normal. It gives us a lot of anxiety, and we're breathing really very quickly from the lungs, not from the diaphragm. So all these things, all these systems, the functioning of these systems just goes up and down, because of which the blood does not get the right nutrients. Rather, even if it is getting, it is not reaching the skin cells. It is reaching that zone of the body where it needs to bring you back to balance. So now all this communication is happening through the nervous system. The brain is passing on these signals through the nervous system with the help of hormones to all the organs, and telling the organs what to do. If your digestive system has been told by the brain through the nervous system, and the message being passed by your hormones telling that shut down, because as of now it is emergency, I need to bring you back to calm state. So I'll not be able to supply those nutrients to your hair and to your skin and to your maintaining your body. That is not a priority for me right now. So so this system is important. I'm not saying that it has to shut down forever, because we are dual in nature. We need both the systems. But the system, we have been blessed just for the stress situations, because as humans, we are supposed to experience stress situations. What is our body supposed to do in those stress situations is what this system is meant to. It's been given us as a backup for us to be able to deal with the stress situations. But how are we living these days? We are almost in sympathetic mode all the time. It could be, and the important thing to know here is, being into this system is not just about actually facing the fear. It is about some self-created factors also. Like, for example, if you have over exercised, that is a stress for your body. You don't even know, but if you are just tiring your body like anything with exercise, it is an over stress for you. you can get into these details on our bodywork workshop on YouTube. Then if you are, say for example, you are very sleepy and you are just kind of consciously keeping yourself awake just to finish off some movie that you're watching at night, you are creating stress for your body. If you are if small little tasks at home that you don't like doing or you don't want to do, or you've taken some work that you think, okay, I will do it, but let me just do it and just it'll just pass, that is creating stress. So what I'm saying is stress is coming within us from everywhere, either consciously or subconsciously, or through real factors or through unreal factors. Real factors could be the situation which we do not have control on, but some situations that we do have a control on is where you start to take control of the system. For example, now over exercising creates a lot of stress for the body. You do exercise, but you do it in balance. You do everybody's personal capacity is different. You don't have to overburn yourself. That is where you will enter the sympathetic mode. Then you rather than thinking what is it that is giving me stress, start diverting yourself to seeing what is it that makes you happy. Even if you're doing that activity for 15-20 minutes, or 20, talking to somebody or releasing your emotions, that's where you are again switching on your parasympathetic system. So anything that you do to calm yourself ultimately will bring the entire system functionality in balance, which ultimately in the long run will make you ageless. So this is about stress system, which has which is related to it, and the stress system communicates via hormones that we've just discussed. I will just take you through some of the hormones, because this is where everything, the crux of everything that we've discussed. We've talked of how how these signs show up on the face and the body, how organs are related to it, how these organs are impacted by emotions, and these emotions are created by hormones, which means ultimately if we know how to take control of our hormones, we can take control of everything that we are wanting for, whether it be health or well-being or your appearance for a very, very long time. So hormones that disturb the function of beauty systems. So it's going to happen at 4 levels. When you're disturbed, it is not just your mind, your body is getting disturbed, your emotions of course are creating it, and your behavior is also changing. So when you talk of your appearance, how you look and feel, in totality, whole of you is involved. It is not just your skin that is involved. It is not just your mind that is involved. It is not just your body that is involved. And that is the reason people who are into right ways of living, who maintain this cycle of living right, wake up early, sleep early, eat good food, are into some yogic kind of practices, are more or less very balanced kind of people. And it shows in their entire personality, in their behavior, in the way they think, the way their body shows, the way their emotions are. So okay, so what are the hormones that will disturb the functioning of you as a whole from the mind, body, emotions and behavior perspective? Are your stress hormones and your reproductive hormones. Reproductive hormones when they go out of balance. So what are the reproductive hormones? These could be estrogen, progesterone, then it could be testosterone, and the stress hormones, which are the adrenaline, cortisol and non-epinephrine. So cortisol is where everything will start to change from a negative perspective, which is the stress. This is the hormone that keeps on and on and on if you are constantly in a state of negative emotions. This is where your digestive system will shut down. This is where your breathing capacity will be very difficult. This is where your skin will not get the nutrients and oxygen that you're wanting. So you have to make sure that you take control of cortisol, and it is not about taking a pill. It is about improving your diet and lifestyle. Pill will not help. It will automatically create a lot of other imbalances because all these hormones work in coordination with each other. So now, what are the ways or techniques that we can do to kind of take control of these hormones? And ultimately, hormones will impact emotions. Emotions will impact organ systems, and organ systems will impact how you look and feel. So that's how the cycle goes. So it is also now about understanding the feel-good hormones. If you can induce the release of feel-good hormones inside the body, you will ensure that this cycle is working fine. What are these 4 major happy hormones? I guess we all have more or less know about these. There have been some circulatory posts also on these hormones, but how deeply they are connected to everything is what we will try to understand now. So serotonin is serotonin, dopamine, endorphins and oxytocin. Now the beauty of these 4 different feel-good hormones is that they are produced by different activities, which means your lifestyle should be centered and designed in a way that you are doing activities which are supporting the release of these four kinds of feel-good hormones. Serotonin, 70% of it is released in your digestive system. Again, we have just discussed how digestive system is your primary beauty system. One of the reasons was, of course, because the processing of nutrients. The other one, from the hormone perspective, is that your serotonin is produced in the stomach. So if your digestive system is not working fine, even if you're consuming the bestest of foods, even if you're doing bestest of exercises, and you are not able to produce serotonin because your digestion is not good, in that case, again, it will have a very deep impact on the reproductive hormones also, because if these feel good hormones are not at the optimum level inside the body, ultimately these will start to give rise to your stress hormones and also to imbalances of reproductive hormones, which is estrogen and progesterone that we just discussed. So what are the areas that factors that help serotonin get released inside the body? Serotonin specifically gets produced when your digestive system is good. You are consuming a lot of probiotic rich foods, tryptophan rich foods. What are tryptophan rich foods? These are something like high consumption of beans in your diet, green leafy vegetables. So this is from the food perspective. From the lifestyle perspective, sunshine is very, very important. We just know how we get out in the under the sun and immediately we just bloom up. Even if we know, sun does have its own negatives, radiation and all that. But what we are talking of, sun exposure to sun, not in the peak hours, but in the off peak hours. I think this is something to feel about. You get into the sun, even if you're feeling very dull and depressed, and you get out immediately into the sun somewhere around 5 o'clock or early morning, somewhere 7 8, you immediately feel a sense of feel good inside the body. What has happened? It's not by chance. Your serotonin just got a boost. Then the second feel good hormone is dopamine, which is majorly related to achievements in life, something like manifestations. So you dream of something and you worked for something and you achieved it. Something you have been dreaming to get into some job, and you got into that job. So that will give rise to dopamine. Now you don't need to get only into a specific kind of a job to release dopamine. This is about rewarding yourself. Okay, so which means if you've done something good for yourself or for anybody, this will automatically you need to actually give boost to it by self-praising yourself, not sabotaging yourself. You really have to do a lot of self-talk to keep this feel-good factor up, which means meditation will go a long way in supporting this, or rather all of them, but this is specifically related to manifestation. When you're achieving something, when you're doing something good that can make you really come up from the emotional perspective, can make you rise above the negativity. Then meeting and breaking goals. So why there is a lot of focus these days, a lot of life coaches have come up, and there's a lot of specific field only has opened up as a life coach, and understanding how do you design your goals, which wasn't there earlier in the past. Psychologists understand when you have goals and when you start achieving these goals from a very small step perspective. Like you have a bigger goal and then you divide that goal into small little steps and break down further into achieving these steps on a daily basis. Like you maintain a journal, writing down what you wanted to do and the small step that you took. Automatically you will see that light will that bulb just kind of lights inside you. You just feel that spark of energy. So this is where dopamine just happens. So have goals and start achieving them. This is where you will release those feel good factor of this dopamine hormone. From the food perspective, it's again about whole grains and green leafy vegetables and going high on beans. That will support that. And then endorphins is specifically related to exercise, and that's the reason when you go out for exercising and when you come back, you realize that immediate, for no reason, you feel excited and happy and good. And the last one is oxytocin, which is all about intimacy and being close to your loved ones. So maybe cuddling and giving a hug to your loved ones, or having a feeling of compassion and trust. This will automatically increase this release of the specific kind of a hormone. And it is also dependent upon amino acids, which means having good quality protein will give it a rise. Okay, so just to kind of quickly summarize, what are the beauty hormones which have an impact on how you look and feel, and what kind of hormones make you look which way is what I'll just try covering here. Estrogen, which is a female reproductive hormone, is one of the major hormones, and that's the reason when our menstrual cycle is at its peak during our when it starts from the time till our mid 30s is where we are at the peak of our beauty. As this hormone starts to decline, as we start to reach more of the perimenopause and menopausal kind of a stage, this hormone starts to decline, and with the decline of this hormone, the skin thickness starts to go down, skin starts to become thin, moisture levels go down, skin doesn't remain supple, youthful and plumpiness is all gone. And imagine what we are just looking for, that one product miracle that can just bring about those changes, miraculously. It doesn't work like that. It's very, of course, outside products can definitely help you, but if you're looking for that long-lasting kind of an effect on the skin, the way you had in your 30s and 20s, you really have to work internally on all these factors that we've just discussed. The second one is progesterone, which is responsible for your skin elasticity. This is one hormone which is really going very, very low in a lot of perimenopausal women, some females in their 40s and 50s. You really need to support this hormone. Now, again, this is a balance. When you start to support estrogen, progesterone also, to some extent, it helps support this hormone also. But some of the foods that really help supporting progesterone is something like flax seeds. Consuming flax seeds every single day supports progesterone to quite an extent, and specifically if you are in your late 30s and 40s, this will support your progesterone levels. Testosterone is very highly related to male pattern hair loss. A lot of females losing a lot of hair these days. Somewhere these male hormones are going up, and it's not just to do with your foods and lifestyle. It is also to do with the kind of chemicals that we are exposed to. And we don't even know from where all these chemicals are coming in. Even if we are doing the bestest of things, still these may be coming in from our environment, also from the air that we are breathing, from plastics that we are using. A lot of it is coming from plastics that we are using. So as much as you can, just get rid of plastics, even if it is the best quality plastics. And it is also one of the reasons, that is the reason behind PCOS and PCOD conditions. So these three are the reproductive hormones. Cortisol we have just discussed how it relates to aging, and this is a stress hormone, relates back to how stress mechanism works. Insulin is a hormone made by the pancreas, and it is responsible for the metabolism of glucose inside the body. Now, the kind of glucose and sugar that we are consuming these days, and the kind of stress that we are going through. So stress also ultimately increases the glucose levels inside the body. Why? Because when you are under stress, automatically you need glucose to convert into energy, to get energy to be out of stress. So automatically your system starts to create certain hormones which will start to release a lot of sugars in your blood. So it is not just about foods, it's also about your emotions. Your emotions are releasing a lot of sugar in your blood. So if insulin is high, be very, very rest assured, if your insulin is not in balance and if your blood sugar levels are high, aging will be very, very rapid for you. Nothing can control it. No best treatment can control it, because insulin directly impacts your blood condition, and if blood condition is not good, your skin and hair and body does not have that support that it needs to be ageless. Okay, serotonin, endorphins, oxytocin, so these are the hormones that we have just discussed, which are the feel-good hormones. But how they impact your beauty, I'll quickly take you through. Serotonin is a feel-important hormone, and it is responsible for controlling huge part of your brain function. So when you feel good, it is produced in the stomach, and that's why they say your gut is called as a second brain. Why? Because there is a strong connectivity between how good bacteria works and impacts, passes on certain signals to your brain, and how these feel-good hormones are also manipulated by these good bacteria, and ultimately sending these flawless signals in and out, and that's where you feel good and happy. It will it controls mood fluctuations, also the sleep cycle. A lot of people who go through a lot of lows on a daily basis regularly may also be low on serotonin. And their immune system and gastrointestinal system is also impacted by serotonin, which means if you work on increasing or balancing your serotonin, automatically all these factors that we have just discussed will start to get back in balance. And these are the same factors which are responsible for your organ systems also to function a certain way. So it all is related. Endorphins are the happy hormones, majorly produced with activity and exercise, jogging, running, yoga, any high intensity exercise. And this is responsible for relieving your anxiety. And we have just understood how anxiety is related to your stomach and digestive system, which is the beauty system. So ultimately, again, this gets connected with how how it makes your skin go a certain way. And this is also responsible for younger skin. And that's the reason when you go out jogging and come back, you realize immediately that how your skin just glows. Oxytocin is the cuddle hormone, and it is the same hormone which gets released after a childbirth. And we know how women just bloom after a childbirth. So it's no magic. It's basically release, and the release of oxytocin is at its peak after a childbirth. This is the most cuddling feeling that you can have for anybody. So that's where it's at its peak. And then you can also create this hormone by being close to your loved ones. It's all about love. Oxytocin is all about love. So, and it is also the natural bleach, and that's the reason somebody who's newly married, there is a certain kind of a glow on, in the personality of a newly married woman. So it's precisely oxytocin that's working at the back of it. And melatonin, which is the most vital hormone in a female body, melatonin is directly related to your sleep. So if you are somebody who is a late sleeper by choice or by chance, whatever, you can be rest assured you are inviting aging very, very fast. So it is more about a habit. You may have 100 reasons saying that I don't feel like sleeping, I have work, I want to see movies because that's the only time I have with myself. I would rather say switch on your time, start getting up early in the morning and start doing the activities that you love. Even if you get up at 3 in the morning, sleeping by say 9 or 10 at night, you are increasing your age, longevity, as well as your beauty factor by the magnitude of it by multiples. Because early morning is the time when your mind is fresh, those hormones are fresh, which have the ability to balance things inside. And when this cycle goes the other way, even if you're doing the best exercise, best food, best whatever, if the cycle is not good, aging will be very, very fast. Okay, what are the things that you can, some of the things that you can boost to improve your emotions? Laughter is one of the best remedies. Just be happy, joyous, do anything and everything that keeps you away. Like we are in these pandemic times, and things do happen when we can just get carried away by whatever is happening. But the whole idea is, whatever has to happen is happening. Nobody has control on it. But the whole idea is you can support others by supporting yourself, by being happy and by being balanced. That's the only thing that you can offer, if at the least minimum. So what are the things? And this is where you will also be supporting your hormones and in totality the entire you, including your immune functioning also. So laughter is directly related to your endorphins. Again, we have understood the entire circle, how these hormones impact how you look and feel. Sleep will directly impact your melatonin and cortisol, which melatonin is the sleep hormone and cortisol is the stress hormone. And it also impacts your serotonin. So which means all these feel-good factors are directly related to sleep. If your sleep is not good, or if it is not in time, even if you're sleeping say 8 to 10 hours, but you go off to sleep by say 1 or 2 and wake up at 9, it is doing you no good. It does not matter those number of hours. What matters is how are you supporting your body functionality. Your body functionality says that by 11 o'clock till next 11 o'clock in the morning, I am in the mode of flushing out toxins. If you're not supporting your body in that flushing out activity, you're holding those toxins. Ultimately, blood is getting toxic and the toxicity is showing all over your face and body. And from the food perspective, it's omega-3 fatty acids. The ones we've just discussed, something like increasing the consumption of flax seeds and chia seeds supports the release of serotonin, the feel-good hormone. And exercise and massage, exercise we've just discussed, massages like self-pampering yourself releases serotonin and endorphins. Cuddle or even a hug to your kids or to your loved ones supports oxytocin. B-complex and diet will go a long way in supporting the release of these hormones as well. So, everything is coming together when it comes to your beauty as a whole. The last thing that I would want to discuss is the concluding mantra and the checklist. So a lot of factors we have discussed, but additionally certain things that will also help you kind of take control of you as a whole, including your emotions, is going to be, if by any chance you are on any kind of birth control pills, I guess this is something that nobody talks about. Just stop having it, because you are creating a bigger web of hormonal imbalance inside the body by increasing one and imbalancing the other. So in one area, of course, you're supporting, but the other hormones are getting disturbed. And we have just discussed how hormones are the key to your beauty and appearance and agelessness. Keep your blood sugar levels balanced, which means go low on sugar. Make sure that your insulin levels and blood sugar levels are balanced. Go low on processed foods, because this is where the blood chemistry will start to get acidic. Start to consume a lot of omega-3 fatty acids. This is where your collagen and elasticity of the skin is maintained. Manage your stress levels, because stress, we have just understood how it impacts your entire appearance, but it also releases extra glucose in the blood, which means extra blood sugar and extra insulin, and that cycle starts back again. And use purest kind of skincare. Do not compromise on the kind of skincare that you use, because we are exposed to a lot of toxins just with 3 or 4 or 5 different kinds of skincare products that we are using. A good idea any day is to just go and look back at the labels of the skincare products that you're using, and go back and research what is the impact of these chemicals on your skin, and you will get to know, you will be amazed to see what you're doing to yourself. So, and from the food perspective, what supports your emotions is whole grains. Millets and brown rice do have an impact on serotonin, which is a feel-good factor. Beans also does support your, feel-good hormones, which is serotonin being one of those. Green leafy vegetables support your entire blood chemistry. Nuts and seeds, flax seeds, chia seeds is where your good fats are coming from, is where all that plumpiness you're getting from. And these naturally sweet foods support your beauty organs. So, this kind of a spread is where you will start to change your beauty from inside out. Okay, so I guess this is what I had to share with you. In case you would want to know deeper about the other aspects, I would highly recommend, please go and check out the Bodywork and Nourish workshops that we have done previously. So you will be able to connect to a lot of it that we have discussed today collectively. So I guess that's it from my side. I would now request you all to you can just so we will be online for another 5 to 10 minutes. For the giveaway, I would request you to please share your feedback and what you learned and how had been your experience with our workshop. In the meantime, I will just try taking some questions that you have posted on the chat box, and we'll wait for another 10 minutes to kind of answer your queries. Let me just go through the questions and I'll just answer. Okay, so somebody says, if I sleep early, I'm waking up at midnight around 1 a.m. So I'm sleeping at 1 a.m. I can have continuous sleep from 1 a.m. to 9 a.m. Okay, what can I do to avoid waking at midnight? Okay, so see, when you're waking up at midnight, it is indicating something. It is again a sign from your body telling you that some of the organ is disturbed at night. And specifically, if you have this waking up cycle at night, it is probably your liver not being able to process the toxins, because from 1 to 3 at night, your liver is working at its peak capacity. If liver is clogged or blocked, it is not functioning fine. It will disturb you. You will get a disturbed sleep specifically during the time between 1 to 3 p.m. So from the cleansing perspective, again, I would say, work on detoxifying your liver as the first thing. Then, and also you can start incorporating certain practices, something like start consuming brown rice and chickpeas at night, because these are like good hormone releasing kind of food. So if you are consuming foods which put you at rest at night, probably your sleep cycle will be better at night. So, and also make sure that you do not sleep over your dinner. That will make you awake at night. Why? Because liver has to process the toxicity, and you are interfering with the processing capacity of the liver at its time. So if you are not supporting it, it will not support you. It will create some imbalance inside the body. Some of the good things that you can do to detox your liver: start including lemon water in your diet. Start consuming green smoothies. There is one smoothie on our website. You can just check it out, which is a staple smoothie recipe, which is like highly beautifying because it's working on all the systems. We can share the link of that smoothie link with you. Either we can share it in mail with you all. So these are some of the things that you can do. And in the night, maybe you can do some nighttime practices, some light yoga, some restorative kind of a yoga, relaxing yoga, so that you are preparing your body for sleep. Just don't go off to sleep. Okay. Next question is, how do people in night shift manage it? See, I can understand it's a very big question and a problem for a lot of people working in night shifts. Okay, so the kind of lifestyle that we are in, sometimes we do not have a control on that. So let's not think of what we do not have a control on. Let's think what we have a control on. So if your work makes you be awake later at night, at least you can make sure that you do not binge at night. Even if you have to eat something later at night, maybe you make sure that you have your dinner by 7 and 7:30, and then if you have to sleep by say 12 or 1 at night, during those 5 hours of waking time, make sure that you're more on liquid kind of a diet, something like a soup or I would not recommend juice, something like an almond milk or water or green tea or these cleansing kind of teas, something like a dandelion tea, which is a very strong detoxifier for the liver, and that's where you're supporting your liver also. That's one. Secondly, even if you're not able to sleep for a longer, earlier, during your work time, you can take up 5 minutes and do some relaxing practice, something like 5 minutes of regenerating yourself, 5 minutes of just taking a break from your work, 5 or 10 minutes, just lying down or sitting and just focusing on deep breathing. That will immediately refresh. So, you have to find out workarounds that work for you, considering what kind of situation you are in. So, that's how it's going to work. So, start working on the areas that you have control on, rather than thinking that these are the areas that I do not have control on. Negativity. Okay, see, this is something that I would say is it's a long-term process. It's something that you really have to work on a constant basis. It's not something that will happen to you in a day. But I can just share my experience, what started working for me. So I have been a very turbulent kind of a past, coming over to where and what we are doing today, and that's the reason there's so much of a depth of what we are talking about, because it does make sense, and that's how it works. For me, the transformation started to happen the moment I went off all kinds of wrong foods. Now, when I say wrong foods, I went off dairy, I went off processed and refined foods, I completely went off sugars. I was majorly on the kind of foods that we have just discussed, the whole grains, beans and vegetables and lentils and fruits and nuts and seeds, and all spectrum being created from all these things coming together. So at some level, I could see that my mind got detoxified, in the sense that my emotions started to get in balance. And later then, after 1 year, I realized that majorly my anxiety issues were gone. Like, I had been a very anxiety prone kind of a person, and within 1 year, everything changed. Like, I just showed my picture, like what it was initially and how the transformation happened for me. That transformation was physical because it was emotional, and it was internal. So because internally a lot of things changed, because of which emotions also changed. So what I can tell you is, if you start taking control of even one area of your life, whether it be foods, or whether it be exercise, or whether it be taking care of yourself, automatically you reach a step above, and that's where you start taking control of other things also. So go step by step, chart out a plan for yourself, make a plan for yourself, pick up one thing at a time, make it a habit, and then move on. So it's a long-term process, but I'm sure you'll be able to do that. Okay, yes. Okay, so see, thyroid, of course, is it's a very chronic issue which is happening almost to all the women these days. So we intend to do a workshop specifically for the women, 30 plus women, range between 35 and 50, because that's where a lot of things are changing for you, whether it be health or emotions or hormones or beauty, whatever. And we could not discuss much in detail about all that, but just to talk about it, thyroid majorly, of course, it happens with stress. Secondly, it also happens with the kind of foods that we are consuming, the kind of toxicity that we are exposed to. The area that I think can really work for you to take control of thyroid is getting into yoga, because foods might take a little time to help you reverse your thyroid conditions. Yoga is very, very powerful. Like, I had been into yoga for quite a long time, and one of my students within 5 months could reverse her thyroid condition. So it's about going and stimulating, making sure that the secretions start to happen right, which is where the yoga practice comes into picture. So so I guess this is all about it. If you have any further questions, you can just drop us a mail, or you can just ask these questions on our Instagram as well. We'll be happy to answer any questions if we've just left, because of time constraints. Okay, so I guess you've shared your answers with us. We'll get back to you with the results of the giveaways on Instagram itself. So just stay tuned. If you are not on Instagram or not following us, we would highly recommend please follow us on Instagram, because that's where we will be declaring the results. Yeah, so that's it from our side, and I hope you like the session, because beauty is much more deep rooted than we can ever think of. So it's more about opening up your thought process and getting deeper into the concepts. To get more into the deeper concepts, please check out our other workshops. That's where you will get a lot of knowledge and